Hello, it looks like I'm live. Welcome to this video, everybody. Dante here. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm going to explore the chart of the upcoming solar eclipse and as well looking a bit into the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius on the solstice, which is a really powerful event that only happens every 20 years, and it does happen every 20 years like clockwork. It starts a cycle of 20 years. Though this time when Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, it actually begins a 200-year cycle of these two planets joining in air signs. So later on, I will make a video that's more focused on that because I want to talk about the eclipse mostly. Though I have to talk a little bit about the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction. So the solar eclipse happens on December 14th here in Guatemala, which is also Central Time in the US. That's happening at 10 in the morning. We won't see it here. The eclipse is only visible in Chile and Argentina and parts of Southwest Africa. But the eclipse affects everybody regardless of where you are in the world. Before I get into the eclipse, what else has been happening recently? Well, we had a lunar eclipse rather, in Gemini a couple of weeks ago, 1 week ago to be exact, and I didn't get to make a video on that one. While I do like to make videos about every event of this nature, there was just too much going on for me at that time. That eclipse happened to be on my ascendant as well, so it was kind of like a personal reset. So anyway, that eclipse was very powerful for Gemini and the mutable signs. So the mutable signs again are Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces, not in that order. But those signs are also going to be very much affected by this coming eclipse. So right now we are at about December 8th, and in a couple of days, what we look to first is the square between Pluto and Eris. And this has happened a couple of times through the Pluto retrograde in this past year, that this square has become to be exact. So Eris is perhaps the slowest moving planetary body that modern astrologers use, and Eris is the goddess of discord. Eris is also considered the feminine awakener, and whatever Eris touches, it disrupts in order to catalyze a transformation and a regeneration. And this disruption can be chaotic. It doesn't have to be pretty. Remember, it's discord. But in that chaos, when we surrender control and surrender resistance to the chaos and allow, things come back into alignment naturally. Pluto is, in a sense, a similar archetype. Different, of course. Pluto is the god of the underworld, and Pluto is about transformation. It's about what we need to release and let go of. And Pluto is a very slow-moving planet. So is Eris. Eris' cycle is somewhere around 530 years. Pluto's is something around 280 years. So a square opposition is when there is a right angle in the chart, like this. And this right angle is considered related to Mars. It catalyzes things, it challenges things. It's a tension that triggers growth. And when we see these in the charts, we notice that we're going to face a challenge or a conflict of interests that brings us to integrate seeming contradictions and move forward in a positive direction, hopefully, or if we get stuck in the square, it can bog us down. Now, why this is super powerful is that, again, these are very slow-moving planets, so I couldn't look so back in the books to see when the last time they made a square to made a hard aspect like this, but I'm guessing it's some 800 years ago. Pluto touching Eris means disruption, conflict, chaos can be coming up for people. It can mean that we are feeling great tension in our relationships, that perhaps there are people that really trigger something in us that ask us to reevaluate our values, that ask us to step into a new version of ourselves. And this is present in the collective kind of through, COVID-19 and lockdown and all of these things creates great chaos. And a lot of people are resisting this energy of chaos, though when you look within and find stillness in the storm, this energy is really there to bring us to our center within ourselves. So Pluto is transformation, but Pluto is also speaking to our soul. And it takes us to the deepest part of our soul, where we know that beyond the chaos of the material world, we are at one with the divine, whatever that means to us. So the invitation is to really watch any energy of conflict that you may bring into situations, or any conflict that you have with the collective, with what's happening in the world, or with politics, and realize that to assert yourself at this time is vital, though there's ways of asserting yourself that don't push other people's boundaries and don't make them feel invalidated. And to move again into that Aquarian paradigm of genuine equality and harmony with others is going to make all of this flow much easier. So watch out for what happens for you around the Pluto and Eris exact square. This is a long-term influence, so we've been feeling its effect all through 2020, and we will continue to feel its effect into 2021, though the date that it is exact is 3 days before this eclipse on December 11th. So take note of that. Now, talking about the eclipse itself, the eclipse is very close to a point in astrology called the South Node. So there are two nodes of the moon, the South Node and the North Node, and in Vedic astrology they're called Rahu and Vatu, I believe. No, I'm messing those names up because they remind me of something from a very magical cartoon show. I don't do Vedic astrology well, but anyway, the nodes of the moon are in Gemini and Sagittarius. So if you've been following this, I've spoken quite a bit about the nodes of the moon because it's speaking to the North Node in Gemini means that using more of a rational focus and being able to hold multiple perspectives, as Gemini is the jack of all trades. For one, Gemini is also the ability to see contradictory ideas as true and to take from many sources of information and see things in a more objective way. Sagittarius is the opposite. Sagittarius is subjective knowledge, subjective understanding. And so Sagittarius is connected to spirituality, to religion, to belief systems, in extreme cases to zealots. It's also connected to the law, and it's connected to adventure, to learning and growth. Of course, Gemini Sagittarius is the axis of knowledge and learning, so they're both connected to that knowledge, though you can see it in a simple way that Gemini is more objective, Sagittarius is more subjective. Sagittarius doesn't need to read a book and discover all this information to know what it knows. But when the South Node moves through Sagittarius, it means this aspect within ourselves is being transformed. And of course, this really depends on where Sagittarius falls in your chart. But in this cycle of the North Node moving through Gemini, which it's moved through perhaps, I'm going to say 7 out of its 18 months in Gemini, we are experiencing perhaps karmic backlash from false belief systems. So the South Node, as it moves through things, it transforms them. It shows us aspects of that area of our life, and it also, yes, depends on where this is in your chart in terms of the houses. Those aspects of your life, how does that transform? So this is amplified during the eclipse because the sun and the moon and Mercury are all there together in Sagittarius with the South Node. Now, the Sun and the Moon are at 23 degrees Sagittarius, and Mercury is at 20. The South Node is at 19, so that's a couple degrees off of being an exact conjunction, but I still consider it a conjunction. It's still very valid. And Mercury, it's interesting for me. It's a beautiful moment as an astrologer because I have Mercury in 1 degree off from where Mercury will be during the eclipse. I'm a Gemini ascendant. So Mercury is one of my ruling planets, and I'm sort of getting this cosmic reset with the South Node at the point of my Mercury during the eclipse. And for everyone, if you have anything, a planet between, I would say, 18 or 19 to 25, 26 of the mutable signs, again, Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, this is going to be a really powerful and catalytic moment. If you have it in fire or air signs in those degrees, it's probably going to be a more supportive moment. Basically, I see this eclipse as a belief reset button. So our belief systems govern our life experience. I'm way into channeling, so one of the subjects that the channel beings I work with and the ones that I prefer to listen to talk about is our belief systems, how they create our reality, and how we can start to dive in to notice what the beliefs are. We can notice our beliefs as the preconceived notions that govern our life, thoughts that we don't doubt, thoughts that we don't question. And the process of personal transformation is about questioning those thoughts and asking, are they really true? And if there could be a higher truth that brings us to feel and live in better ways. So we are moving into a total new time and space on this planet, and I'm going to talk about that a bit soon, but this eclipse is really asking us to evaluate which beliefs are not in alignment with the new paradigm energies, which beliefs are keeping me in an old age, and how can I transform them. Sagittarian themes are also, again, travel, adventure. So it may be a good question to wonder, are you really exploring new terrain in your life? And of course, many of us are on lockdown still, but we don't need to move about the world to travel and to expand. And it simply means opening outside of the comfort zone of the information and the ideas that you normally expose yourself to, and looking at something a little bit different so that you gain greater perspective and you continue to grow. So this might be a moment where you set your intentions, of course, because new moons are always about setting intentions, planting the seeds in the darkness so that they may grow as the moonlight grows. And this is a very potent one as an eclipse. And as you don't have to think of this theme of belief systems first as you set your intentions, but set your intentions for what are you bringing into this new year and also this new world that is manifesting for all of us, whether we like it or not. How do you want to live in this new world? And what are the ways of being and believing that cannot come with you into the new world? If you don't look for them, most likely you will be shown them regardless around the time of this eclipse. Let's look at some of the other aspects going on during the eclipse. So we have just next to Sagittarius, maybe I can I comment on my own video? I can. Okay, for everyone watching, I just posted, you can look at the chart of the moon of this eclipse and see some of the things I'm talking about. If you're watching in the comments, it's there. So in Scorpio, we have Venus and Juno together. Now, Venus is in its detriment in Scorpio, which means that Venus doesn't function in the vibrant, connective way it normally does. its energy is a bit dimmer and more intense in the sign of Scorpio. Venus is about how we make connections. It's about love and beauty, and it's also about our values. So in Scorpio, Venus values depth, mystery, and money. It values these sorts of scorpionic aspects. Can value sexual connections more than the sensual side of things that is Taurus. So it's a time where you might not want to be engaged in superficial connections. And also Venus is exactly conjunct Juno. Juno is about relationships. In the mystical terms, Juno is the wife of Zeus, and Juno is about how we commit to ourselves and how we commit to our partners. And the shadow side of Juno is sometimes jealousy. So especially with Venus conjunct Juno at this time, jealousy may be coming up in partnerships. If you aren't in a relationship, it's a good time to ask yourself, what kind of qualities am I really seeking in these relationships? And if you are in one, it's a really good time to go deep and to evaluate, are you really giving enough transparency and intimacy to each other, allowing each other in deeper ways, as that's what Venus and Scorpio brings us to experience. So there is a beautiful trine from the Sun and Moon and Mercury to Mars, and this means it's a good time to align everything, your heart and your soul and your mind, Mercury, your communication, with your actions. This is a time where you can really get clear in communicating and stepping forward in a direction, and it can come with a lot of fiery energy because these are fire signs. So taking steps in the direction of your passion and allowing your drive to go uninhibited in the direction that you prefer. That is a beautiful aspect of this moon. Of course, Mars is again approaching Eris, so we may find that our action steps are a little bit disrupted in the time following the eclipse, though we can bring alignment even despite this disruption. Again, when we bring non-resistance and total acceptance into the chaos of Eris, we allow for things to be transformed and reinstated in really beautiful ways. So we also have another conjunction of Black Moon Lilith and Uranus in 7 degrees of Taurus. And this Taurus placement of Uranus is going to get a lot more interesting as we move through 2021, as Taurus is going to be coming into square relationships very often with the new planets in Aquarius, which I'll talk about later. But for now, when we have this exact relationship with Uranus and Black Moon Lilith, we might find that there is unexpected or revolutions inside in terms of how we connect to our primal energy. Black Moon Lilith is the wild feminine, it's the primal feminine, and it's about our most instinctual desires, and it's also connected to cycles of gestation and maturation in the womb. So we can, find that there may be a disruption in our cycles. We might find that unexpectedly this desire or a primal urge in Taurus perhaps to earth or to connect with earth or each other in different ways comes to the surface again. And this will be probably a fun influence. Now, there is a slight square if you look at the chart from Uranus to the planets in Capricorn that are just on the verge of Aquarius, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Neptune square to the nodes of the moon. I should have mentioned this earlier. Neptune, again, is about the disillusionment of things. Neptune is about in its highest aspects, it's about spirituality and a divine connection. Though, again, as we connect from our human realm into the spiritual realm, there are many layers that can be distortions through our belief system. So it can also be about delusion, dreams, and things of this nature. With Neptune square to the nodes of the moon, it brings up these Neptunian themes very powerfully, and it makes us really make sure that we face reality, because the shadow of Neptune is mistaking the dreams for reality. And again, my work is mostly with channeling and with helping people connect to these higher realms, and I always have to affirm to people, yes, take everything you see in these realms as very real, because these are the real projections of your consciousness into and the projections of your belief systems, how your system operates, into this dreaming realm. Though, don't believe it unless it feels solid and good. So we want to, again, we're witnessing our belief systems transform, yes, and we're also making sure that we're not mistaking the dream for reality. It can add some layers of confusion when Neptune squares the nodes, and we just have to be aware of that. Though Neptune is sextile to Pluto, so again, this is a long-term influence, and it does show that our dreaming realm can really support us in stepping through our personal transformation. Still on that those mutable energies, we have Vesta, which is the virginal goddess that sacrifices relationships, sexuality, to have a deeper spiritual connection. So Vesta is about the spiritual fire that burns within us to connect to the divine, and that spiritual fire is also about healing and about embracing our divinity. So we have to then notice maybe there are sacrifices to make, or maybe there is healing in relation to our spiritual connection, or in relation to, again, the Sagittarian theme, which is strong in this moon, transforming and clearing our belief systems. So still on this, I forgot to mention, Mercury is in its detriment in Sagittarius, and I have this in my chart, and it doesn't mean that to have Mercury in Sagittarius is bad, but it does mean that these two energies don't always align that well. As Mercury is ideally a rational planet that measures things and is able to see two sides of things. And in Sagittarius, Mercury really just wants to go right into the adventure of it just because it believes that that's the right path or that's what feels good. So when we have Mercury in Sagittarius, there's a tendency to be harsh or abrasive with words because Sagittarius just puts it all out on the table very brashly. And it's good to honor and acknowledge that impulse as it arises, and this is my lifelong practice with Mercury as one of my ruling planets, and having it in that placement is to be able to witness everything I'm thinking and then ask myself, do I really need to share this, and do I need to share this now? And of course, as Mercury has been moving through Sagittarius, I've had moments these past weeks where I have acted out on that old impulse to say things before it was really right to do it, not in the right way. And so it's important to note that, as we communicate, it's not just about the ideas and the words that we say, but it's about how we say it. And if we're speaking with words aloud, it's all about the tone of our voice and making sure that our voice is sounding soothing and calm, and doing vocal toning practices to tone into your chakras and find the perfect pitch that calms your body down, holding your hand and focusing your mind into the part of your body that you're working, doing it all in all of the 7 chakras is one of the most amazing practices. You can find it on my YouTube channel if you look back a bit. Chakra toning, I think it's called, is the video title, something of that nature. And that really helps to make sure that all of the words that you communicate are really aligned with that clear, intentional energy, so that you're not you can bring a calming, nurturing quality, even when what you're saying is something that might trigger processes in others. Sometimes we have to do that. Again, especially when we have Pluto square Eris, we're causing something to transform in a chaotic way in our relationships and in the collective, and embracing the center in our hearts within all the chaos, trusting that the chaos is temporary and it will lead to all of those things that are being disrupted and transformed coming on in a new way, coming to a new level of their embodiment. So, okay, that's all of those little influences, and I can speak a little bit, finally, about the eclipse itself before we go even further into it. So, Uranus was discovered at 24 degrees Gemini, and that is, when the planets are discovered, these newer outer planets, they only came into our consciousness in the past 300 or 400 years. That degree echoes their vibration throughout the epochs. And now we have the eclipse opposing Uranus, this discovery point in Gemini. So there will be also a Uranian quality. And perhaps I'm saying this and you don't really understand, what are my beliefs that are being disrupted? It might be sudden, because again, Uranus rules things that are sudden and potent in that sense. So you may find that disruption popping up in terms of worldviews and ideas that you once thought to be very true, and seeing them transform. And in my own life, I'm noticing that in just having been so focused on my self-work and working with others and making my offerings. Now there's something transforming where I'm realizing that I've really gotten into this work. I need to still nurture my personal life in ways, and that's kind of the trajectory, is how do I really live a daily life that's super fun beyond doing my yoga practice or my qigong practice and doing all of this channeling and esoteric delving inside all the time. There's a beautiful world to enjoy, and that's kind of where I'm headed. Though I am really focused. So we're coming up into the solstice, and on the solstice we have Jupiter and Saturn meeting in Aquarius. This is big, this is beautiful, this is brilliant. As the Jupiter-Saturn cycle only happens every 20 years, and I'm saying this for the people live. I said it in the very beginning of the video. Maybe you need a refresher. Jupiter-Saturn cycles start occurring in the same sign for 200 years. So back in 1980, Jupiter and Saturn met in Libra, and that was kind of our first entry into this era. They met again in Capricorn, I believe. And so we're kind of more in the old, because Capricorn is about the old, and Capricorn is about the traditional. Capricorn is about hard work. Capricorn then connects very much to top-down authority structures. And now we're moving into Aquarius. So flashback to the earlier in 2020, when the pandemic and everything happened, Saturn and Jupiter met in Capricorn again, and then they retrograded to come back to Aquarius together. That's amazing, because what this is about is then, again, Capricorn relating to the old, Aquarius relating to the new. We're experiencing with this the birth of a new paradigm. And Aquarian themes are going to be coming up in our consciousness more and more all of the time. So Aquarian themes, again, are the new. It's about creating a more egalitarian system, meaning equal power, equal distribution of resources and energy to all people. And it's also about technology. It's connected to Uranus. It's about innovation, and it disrupts things. So this is a really beautiful thing, and you're probably seeing a lot of people saying like, wow, the new era is starting. The new time on our planet is beginning. It's so exciting. We're going into the light fully, and after the 21st of December, everything is going to be amazing because this is when it begins. And I don't know, I think the people who are saying this are maybe just hopping on the spirituality train after 2012, because before 2012, people were doing this as well. And I was there in Mexico around the pyramids, gathered with so many people, and I've got to say, if you were there or if you were connected to the 2012 energy, it was super powerful. And I felt that I was living in a new earth in a new way and connected to new energies. And also, the world kept going as it was for people who weren't really connected to that. So the same is happening with, it's different with 2020 because now people cannot deny the world has changed. Everybody has to see through COVID-19 that we're not in the same world we were in before, and we never will be, right? So that's what's happening. But it's also this collective shift to creating new systems. As COVID-19 is creating this financial collapse, right? Pluto in Capricorn is causing the old system of finances, bureaucracy, and all of this to totally transform going into 2024. And this is the beginning of these Aquarian energies. This is the beginning because Saturn will be there until about 2023, and then Pluto moves into Aquarius. And then not long after that, Uranus moves back into Gemini, right? Where it was discovered what it connects to some extent. So I would consider Uranus exalted in Gemini, domicile in Aquarius. So these air signs are about lifting the energy, creating equality, creating balance. And it's, in a sense, very heady. Now, Aquarius is also connected to extraterrestrials. And there's, I saw some other astrologers talking about powerful aspects to Aquarius that related to very potent moments of UFO contact. And Pluto moving through Aquarius is disclosure. No doubt about it that from 2023 onwards, disclosure is going to be accelerating, and we're going to find out about these things. And already with Pluto and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius, you can connect with those energies if you choose. And that energy is going to get bigger. It's going to expand, and it really is a new paradigm, but we have to watch out because Saturn in Aquarius, if you look at some charts of people, it also connects with the idea of moving away from the old into the new just for the sake of it, and discarding what about the old actually worked. So there's some cult leaders that have Aquarius placements, and there's some people with, bringing dystopian ideas into our consciousness with Aquarius placements. So we are ending old cycles, though we have to be cautious that we don't fall into cults or we don't fall into, the trap of, well, this is old, so I don't like it anymore, and I'm just going to get rid of it. Take what is good from the old into the new, and don't just discard it, right? Work with what we've got. And as well, Aquarius is, it's connected to coldness and outsiderness. I have Saturn in Aquarius. This will be my Saturn return. And what I've learned about Saturn in Aquarius over the years, and what I observed in myself even before I read this in astrology books, was Saturn in Aquarius is one who loves to be part of the community, because Saturn in Aquarius is about the community. It's about the collective. It's about the big picture of society. And Aquarius loves society, but hates people, as some people say. So Aquarius is drawn into that. But then Aquarius will notice everything about that society or about that group or that community that doesn't work and be driven crazy by it. And hence have this endless desire to be a part of something, but then feel, oh, it's not right. Nothing about this works. And we have to watch out for that energy, and we also have to watch out for the energy of otherness. So Aquarius is about what is weird, right? And I'm already seeing a lot of people that fall into the trap of feeling as if I don't belong at all. I'm just the weirdo out here. The world doesn't accept me. The world doesn't want me, when no one is telling them that. And that's kind of the trap that people can get into, is like, I'm the creep, I'm the weirdo, I'm the outsider, when really we're here to belong. And in fact, we're all weird. We're all unique. And honing in on our weirdness is going to be what allows us to move in this new time, because our unique quirks make us who we are. But our unique quirks don't make us separate or different from other people unless we choose for that to happen. So the otherifying also happens when we get the division that has always been there. Those people, these people, I don't like them. I don't like the Democrats. I don't like the Republicans. I don't like the mask wearers. I don't like the anti-maskers. It's a trap because it otherifies people. And we really need to step into a time where we can actually understand everyone we don't like, what is their motivation for choosing the beliefs, choosing the behaviors, and choosing to be a part of what they're a part of? Why do they want that? What is their core intention within that? And if you can, not justify their or accept their actions, but have understanding of their intention, realize in some way that that is your intention too, and have compassion for those people, you stop otherifying them and you stop otherifying yourself, and you realize that at our core we are all the same. We are all having the same core and the same core intentions, but we seek to manifest those intentions in other ways. So I'll talk more about Saturn and Aquarius and the solstice in another video, but I wanted to introduce these ideas because they've been really potent and working with me, and I love you all. I'm going to end the live because I'm really bad at timing today, and I actually have a client waiting for me. I know that I wrote in it that I would answer your questions about how this may impact you, but all I can say is that the mutable signs will be very affected, and fire and air signs will probably benefit. And if you have late degrees of Scorpio, notice Venus there. What is that bringing for you? Anyway, Haumea. Okay, Haumea is also in Libra, opposing or squaring, again, the planets in Capricorn that are still there at the time of the eclipse. So Haumea, a final message. Haumea is the Hawaiian fertility goddess, and she's about regeneration. And in this new astrology way, she is about our evolution, evolving our consciousness. So our consciousness as it relates to these power structures is changing. Our consciousness as it relates to money is changing. Our consciousness as it relates to society is changing. And if you have, the late degrees of cardinal signs, Libra, Capricorn, Aries, Pisces, pay attention to Haumea and honor Haumea as she's really helping us evolve at this time and softening this energy of the dissolution of the old. Have trust, have faith, reach out to your galactic family. I'm going to be live on Friday for the weekly live stream channeling, and I am doing readings. I'm doing a limited amount of them. If you can book me for the beginning of January, I know that's a month from now, it would be better, but if you absolutely need a reading now or you want one, please contact me and we'll do the best we can. I love your comments. You guys are amazing. You're the most beautiful people ever. I love you. I love you very much. I need to go now. I hope this has really helped you, and I'll catch you on Friday for the live stream channeling session with the Pleiadian Council, and I will catch you on later on for the deeper look at Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.